It's your boy Zay-P, Zay-P the I am. I am that I am, as you are that you are, for we are all that we are. From the individual to the many, for the many comes the all, and the all is one. So, your boy's back at it, dropping a brand new video. I know I said I wanted to get in a couple more in before the new year, so here we are today. So, one of the first messages that has been sitting with me recently, that's been coming to me, matter of fact, last couple of days, the idea that we need to be able to turn to source within all times, within all moments, to recognize that actually source is residing within all things, and to be able to honor all things as such. And so with that thought came the message that God is actually the tapestry to our lives. God is but the backdrop. Now, I understand that such a message could be insightful because it could cause tension, and people think, blasphemous things. You're dismissing God, you're trying to eliminate God from the process, but rather it is completely different. The idea is to integrate God into all of the process, so much so that it becomes insignificant. The idea of God becomes insignificant because you recognize God within all things. You recognize the source aspect. You recognize the creatorship aspect, the potentiality in all things, stemming first from first thought, first breath, first conscientious ideas, bringing forth expansion, bringing forth birth, the initial I ams, and that initial in-out experience. See, the thing about God that is always dismissed or overlooked is that there are different aspects of God. For God is not one. God is not a him, her, he, she, it experience outside of us. As God is an aspect of all things, there's more to God than just one experience. This is why so many channelers can come in and channel basically God in essence, and channel all sorts of different things. Some may come in channeling the I am, but that is but one aspect. Some may come in channeling God, the overall archetype that people have confined ourselves to, this idea of this overseer type energy that is watching out for everyone and making sure the scales and balances of justice and karma stay in place, right? Others may channel the universe and bring forth a whole new aspect and a whole new perspective of what it is to be God or source. Others may channel source itself, the source behind all things. What came first, the chicken or the egg? First breath, first thought. What came behind all of that? That idea of the source, a completely different aspect of the oneness that is the all. There are all sorts of different aspects and expressions of God, source, universe, the all. These are all but labels to express the ineffable, what cannot be expressed. So with that said, God is so intrinsic in all things, and yet as important and subtly insignificant as the atom, as one of these, the Higgs boson or the God particle, right? This basic subatomic particle or aspect in the universe that is actually the foundational building blocks of all things. Many suspect this is where consciousness resides. Another aspect of God, consciousness, energy. These are all but expressions, but when you whittle down to it, all is but an expression of God. You are but an expression of God. Zay-P, the I am. All of these different incarnations and interpretations are but expressions of God, playing out potentialities to experience oneself. Now, how does that apply to us in this practical, everyday sense? Because Zay has this need to want to ground things, and want to ground the message, make it relatable to everybody. How does understanding that God is in you and simultaneously in all things other, that source is part of all, and that all things need honor, as does the self, as do you. See, if you can recognize that the grander self resides in all things, then all things always need to come to balance. Even in a conflict, even in a moment of turmoil, there's always the possibility and option to find some resolution where both or many can come to a balancing point. And sometimes balancing points rock. Sometimes they may ebb and flow moment to moment. And that may be how the experience is expressed. And sometimes balancing points can just be strict, rigid, opposing, polarity-based, black and white. This side or that side. You riding with me or you not? But if you can come to a balancing point, you either ride with me, we family, you not, you stay over there, we cool, we peaceful. It's balanced. All things in life need to come to balance, and when they do not, when they are out of balance, things fall apart. The unaligned always experiences the symptoms of dis-ease. Look at your body. Look in your body, the places where you have been unbalanced, and how you experience dis-ease in that place. Have you not been good to your stomach? Have you been consuming and drinking harsh things? Have you been overindulging in toxic ingredients? How many ways has such imbalances led to all sorts of reflux and blockages and ulcers and tumors and list, that, and the third? The list continuously will go on. So how does this knowledge that God is actually the backdrop, and truly you yourself are the creation, you are the creation of your life? You have to understand that as God being the backdrop and you being the creation and expression of God, all resides within you. The entire outcome of this thing resides within you. Where and how, when is it appropriate? How do we make this work to come to balance? Recognizing that God is the tapestry of all things, to appease the geeks and the nerds out there, it is the force, quite literally. It's binding all of us. It's connecting all of us. It is the source of all life. And as such, it is of the grandest, utmost importance. And as such, it is insignificant compared to us, smaller fractals of source, and our ability to actually create on the tapestry that is the all. God is but the backdrop. We are the creations. The creations are to dance, to play, to live, to give purpose to that which is God, which is source, whom in turn gives purpose to us, to our need to be, our need to experience, our need to grow, our hunger and desire and passion to be part of it all. Because like it or not, somewhere within, You should know, you do know, you are enjoying all of it. The good, the bad, the highs, the lows, the ups and downs, the dramas, the pitfalls. Now, many of us in these day-to-day worlds has been subjected to so much of the trauma, the negative, and the pitfalls, and to the point where these states of being get locked into place. But nothing has to be permanent. Again, this is out of balance. And at some point, the tipping point comes where we can rise up out of that. This is what this whole previous conjunction has been about. Rising up from these darker epochs, these darker eras, these darker times, into these newer vibrational spectrums. And so with that said, the invitation now is for you to know that God is but the backdrop. You are the creation. Live, play, experience the backdrop, create the images. This is the balance. This is what we are invited to do. No longer live your life according to the doctrines predetermined. It is time for you to live your life according to your own expression. You are the creation. Create and be. Allow the backdrop to do what it does.